Please welcome to the stage Ivan Tornos and Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, along with my colleague, CNBC's Morgan Brennan.
And give them meaning no one else has found. The role we play is so important. We are the voices of the underground.
It's great to be with all of you this afternoon. And Ivan, Arnold, the real-life Terminator. I think that needs another round of applause. So there's a lot to get to here. But first, I do want to start with this partnership that's been forged over the last 7-8 months between Zimmer Biomet and the real-life Terminator. And so, Arnold, I'll start with you. How did this come about?
Well, it's a good question, isn't it?
It is a great question.
I think we were together and we had dinner and we started talking about his company and his responsibilities and challenges. And after he was through, I said to him, well, remember one thing, the most important thing is communication. I said, because I think what you're doing, to create, they have a company that creates all those body parts. And if it is artificial hips or knee replacement or ankle replacement, elbow replacement, shoulder replacement, whatever, you can replace everything. I said, this is fantastic. I said, but how do you get this information to the people? I said, because the fact of the matter is that there's so many people that don't know that those things are existing, and on top of it, if they do know, they're kind of scared of the idea of replacing a body part, to replace your knees. They feel like, oh my God, I'm going to be out for a year, or if shoulder replacement, I'm never going to heal back, I never can play pickleball or tennis or whatever. So they're worried. I said, so I believe that the important thing there is communication. How do you communicate to those people? Because we know there's over 500 million people that have arthritic problems, that are suffering. And I see it firsthand in the gym. All the time when people come up to me and say, well, I can't do this lift anymore because my shoulder hurts, and the surgeon said that he doesn't want to operate anymore. Now they want to do shoulder replacement, but I'm afraid of this. And so I hear all these stories. So I said, well, we have to now convince people that it is possible to do this effortlessly and most likely painlessly. Yes, there's maybe a little bit of discomfort in a rehabilitation and all this, but I said, I had my hip replaced, and I had my valves replaced, and my heart, and all those kind of things. I had plenty of surgeries. I know that this is where the answer is, because we got to keep moving. Because all those people that are complaining about that they're having some problem with the knees or with the hips or with the shoulders, they stop moving. And so I said to Ivan, I said, it's important to let the people know. Maybe I can help you with that. I said at that point, we didn't even talk about a deal or anything like that. I just said, I'd like to help you. I said, because this is my business. My business is to make people move. My business is to inspire people in the world, not just in America, but all over the world, to go and to pump them up and to say, you can exercise, train every day, do something. It doesn't matter to me if you play tennis, if you go skiing, if you play soccer, or if you lift weights. I said, but do something. And so a lot of people get held back by doing that. So then we started, and a few days later, he called me and he says, we got to get together. I think I wanted to be part of the company. I said, to do what? I says, you can be the chief movement officer. I said, wow, that makes me a big shot. I mean, imagine after being the Terminator and being Conan the Barbarian and Mr. Olympia and all of this, all of a sudden I'm chief movement officer. I'm moving up in my career. I said, let's do it. So anyway, so this is how this whole thing really started.
How do you judge?
I think being the chief movement officer is much cooler than being the Terminator, for the record, but yes.
So Zimmer's a 100-year-old company. Medical device maker, hip replacements, knee replacements, as was just outlined. Why was now the moment to raise the company's profile? And perhaps just as importantly, how are you gauging success off of this partnership?
Absolutely. Well, let me start with the last part of the question. The success has been outstanding, above and beyond our expectations. So we're getting millions of people engaging every week, every day, in the You'll Be Back, that campaign. And by the way, he came out with that, the You'll Be Back. I wanted to call it Terminate Your Pain Today. He said, that's a stupid idea. It's not about you, it's about them. It's about the patients. Let's call it You'll Be Back. So we're getting millions of patients that are engaging. We are creating a community, a large community of, again, patients waiting the sidelines. They're sharing the story with us. We are directing them to a local clinician that can help out. So again, the expectations that we had are being blown apart. Our sports medicine business actually grew 22% in the fourth quarter of 2024. And I think that's because we got a bunch of people doing push-ups now with a couch on their back. So they're getting injured and they're coming to see us. So it's a real transformation of the company. So why is this the time? This company that's been around for 100 years is going through a transformation. We're moving from being a legacy medical device company to being a bold technology and solutions provider. We do far more than knee, hip, and shoulder replacement. We are the only company that collects data across the entire episode of treatment. We partner with Apple. We partner with Microsoft in personalizing surgeries. First to market with shoulder robotics. We do artificial intelligence procedures. We do mixed reality procedures. So it's a bold moment in time. We wanted to get somebody bold. We went with the boldest, the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You were saying earlier to me that this is the most heavily, let me see if I got this right, the most heavily you've invested in innovation. This is your biggest innovation cycle in your 100-year history. What does that innovation look like?
Yep. So it's anchored on solving meaningful problems in healthcare. And for us, in our world, musculoskeletal care is about first and foremost awareness. You got people that are waiting in pain and not doing much about it. We got Steve Taylor, I think, is here, the CEO of the Arthritis Foundation. 600 million people around the world living in pain. So it's about solving that, bringing the patients to have a conversation. Number two is about efficiency. We want the episode of treatment to go faster. We don't have the time to have patients living in pain. Can we reduce that 2-year journey into a year or less? Can we do the procedures outside of a hospital? Can we deliver better outcomes, which we are? You know, the hip arthroplasties we used to do 20 years ago are not the same as we do today. So it started with really thinking the problem and then walking back to the technology. In terms of the innovation of the company, we're launching 50 new products in the next 36 months. And again, this is not metal and plastic products. Next generation smart robotics, how we leverage AI in the episode of treatment, how we personalize the journey. Can we put our own company out of business? That's bold. You know, at some point, I envision a day where people will say, you remember the days where we used to have implants inside of our bodies? Now we are restoring versus replacing. Now we are growing cartilage again, and we're making investments in that regard. So again, it's a bold time in the company. We love the innovation that we're launching as we speak.
Arnold, do you see this as a fourth chapter? I mean, bodybuilding, acting, politics, now perhaps for lack of a better term, wellness influencer. How do you think about this and the similarities, I'll say the solution-based philosophy that you have and as that runs through these different chapters?
Well, I think that for me now what is important is to bring all of those various different talents and knowledge together and to create a synergy so that one helps the other. So that if I do a film and that the film is successful, that it helps my environmental movement that I have created 20 years ago and go around the world to tell people that we got to go into a green, clean energy future. And it helps the after-school programs. It helps us with raising money for the after-school programs. We've raised up over $1.5 billion in the last 30 years. It helps the bodybuilding movement, the bodybuilding competitions, and the cash prizes get bigger and bigger. It helps my promotion for, in general, fitness all over the world. And it helps also the company, because the key thing is, like I said, there are too many people that have a misunderstanding about, those kind of replacements. And I want to kind of make that clear to them that it is extremely important not to stop moving when you're 50 or 60 years old just because you have joint problems. You should go and get surgery, you should get therapy. You don't have to get surgery, maybe you just get therapy. If you need surgery, then you get surgery. A lot of times people are being sent away and said, we have to replace that body, but then that's okay too, because the technology today is such that everything can be done so quickly. People walk out of hip surgeries walking out. That is unheard of. When I got my hip surgery 25 years ago, I was in the hospital for 3-4 days, and then I had to do therapy for 3 months. Now you're walking out. I mean, it's crazy of how much things have advanced and how fast things advance. And I want to let people know that, and I want to let it kind of give them courage to go and get those things fixed and to continue on moving. And that's why you see kind of like people now, I mean, how many marathon runners out there now that have kind of replaced hips and knees? I mean, there's the thousands. I mean, it's just really amazing of how things have changed. And that's what it's all about. So I want to bring all of this stuff together into one, and so everything benefits. But my overall interest really is entertainment and health and fitness. This is where the action is. And so when my movies do well, everything, all the other promotions do well as well, because then the media, you puts the spotlight on. I think that's the celebrity power you have, that everyone, you can have a scientist, you can have the best doctor in the world talking about something, but it doesn't have the kind of weight that it has when a credible celebrity talks about a certain product. And when I say credible, it means that it is organic. You know, because it's one thing if I talk about toothpaste or about shaving lotion when I have a beard, or promote any of those kind of things like Mark Spitz did, right? So eventually it fizzles out and people don't believe you anymore that you're really into those products. So I always try to concentrate on just things that is organic. Like when I went with BMW to promote their car, it was an electric car, because I believe in electric cars being the answer and hydrogen-fueled cars being the answer. And so the same is with this. This is natural for me to work with Zimmer because I want people to keep moving. If you, as I said earlier, if you heard earlier, you know, if you stop with the movement, you know, then this is the first step to death. And so we don't want to do that. You rest, you rust. That's what it's all about. So I want to encourage people always to exercise and exercise and exercise, and don't let anything get in your way.
Ivan, this really gets at the concept of longevity. Do you think the concept of healthcare and wellness is changing? And if so, how is policy affecting that?
I think it's dramatically changing, and it's not something that's happened in the last year. I think it got accelerated post-COVID. We're living longer. We want to age the right way. We want to be mobile. We want to enjoy our life. And we're taking care of ourselves in a different way. And I think the trend is going to continue. Patients are getting educated. They understand a lot about their own personal needs and healthcare. And I think the trend is going to continue. If anything, it's going to get accelerated. So policy, look, I'm not going to get into a political conversation. We need to have logical policies. What is a logical policy? The policy that promotes innovation, that promotes wise choices, that enables trends like the trends we're seeing here in the US of taking care of your needs outside of a hospital. Policy that promotes innovation like the one we bring to market. So I think this trend is going to get accelerated, and we're very excited.
Now, let me ask you a question here, if you don't mind, Morgan.
Sure.
Which accent do you like more?
So when he didn't.
I mean, we should do a poll here, right?
I didn't get to tell my side of the story of how we started to work together. Let me just say that through a friend of mine, I ended up meeting the governor. I went to his house. He was doing a charity event. He does all kinds of philanthropy events. And I had my 17 seconds of glory. And in 17 seconds, I went to the governor. I told him how much I love the guy, all about the movies, and yes, Zimmer Biomet and this partnership. And at the end, he said, "You speak very fast. You sound like absolute shit. I didn't understand anything you said, but I like the way you think. And I think you and I can do something together." That's the real story.
Hey.
And then he told me, in the way out, he told me, by the way, I don't even need the money. My net worth is bigger than the GDP of your country. So we're going to do something together. It needs to be authentic, and it needs to be about movement and helping others. And I got a great reputation. If your company screws that up, you'll be hearing from me for a long time.
That's right.
That's exactly it.
There you have it.
Pressure's on.